Hi there. Welcome to English Practice Today. My name is Ava, and I'll be guiding you through today's session. For those just joining us, we share fresh English learning content daily to support your journey towards speaking with greater ease and confidence. In this episode, we'll work on multiple skills at once: your ability to listen and comprehend, plus your speaking abilities and natural flow. This lesson is particularly valuable because we're covering an important practical subject: 75 phrases you'll use constantly in everyday English. These expressions aren't just frequent, they're crucial for helping you sound relaxed and natural when communicating in English throughout your day. Whether you're chatting with colleagues, placing an order at a restaurant, requesting assistance, or making small talk at the office or campus, these phrases will provide you with the language and self assurance needed to communicate effectively. You'll hear numerous practical examples to understand how each phrase works naturally in authentic situations. I'll walk you through each one carefully with clear demonstrations and practice opportunities. So when we finish today, you'll have greater readiness and confidence for your daily English interactions. Before starting, please subscribe to our channel and activate notifications if you'd like regular helpful English instruction like this. Okay, get something to write with and let's dive in. Let's start with an expression you'll encounter nearly daily. How's it going? This expression serves as a warm, casual way of asking about someone's well being. It's commonly chosen over "how are you" and feels more comfortable and natural in conversation. Picture running into a colleague at your workplace or school. You might say, "Hey, how's it going?" They could answer with "pretty good" or "not bad." You might respond with "I'm doing well, thanks." Practice this expression when greeting acquaintances or colleagues. For instance, imagine arriving at your workplace in the morning. You spot a coworker and say, "Hi, how's it going?" They respond warmly, "It's going well. How about you?" You've just initiated a natural exchange using one simple phrase. Another helpful expression is "what's up?" This is an extremely informal greeting typically used among friends. It doesn't necessarily require a detailed response. Most people simply answer with "not much" or "just chilling." For instance, you encounter a friend at the shopping center and they ask, "Hey, what's up?" You might reply, "Not much, just doing some shopping." These expressions help you sound more authentic and demonstrate your understanding of genuine spoken English. Next, consider "that sounds good." Use this expression when agreeing with someone's proposal or suggestion. For example, your friend suggests, "Let's meet at 7 for dinner." You can respond, "That sounds good." It's an effective way to confirm your approval of their idea. You might also say, "sounds like a plan," to convey the same meaning. These replies show agreement in a pleasant and encouraging manner. Now let's practice these expressions together in a brief exchange. Imagine making weekend plans with a friend. You ask, "Hey, how's it going?" Your friend responds, "Pretty good." "What's up?" You answer, "Not much." "Want to catch a movie tonight?" Your friend agrees, "Sure, that sounds good." You confirm, "Great, let's meet at 6." They conclude, "Sounds like a plan." This brief exchange incorporates at least four common phrases you can apply in your actual daily life. Another particularly useful expression is "let me know." Use this when requesting information from someone later. For example, if your friend is reviewing their calendar and you're uncertain about meeting times, you can say, "Let me know what time works for you." It's courteous and allows the other person time to respond at their convenience. You can also employ this expression professionally. Imagine your colleague mentions they might arrive late for the meeting. You say, "Okay, let me know if you need me to cover for you." It demonstrates flexibility and willingness to help. One more vital phrase is "I'm not sure." It's perfectly acceptable not to have all the answers, and this phrase helps you express uncertainty clearly. For example, someone asks you, "Do you know where the meeting is?" And you respond, "I'm not sure. I think it's in room B." You can also add, "Let me check," if you want to find the answer. This makes you appear honest and cooperative, which is always beneficial in both casual and professional contexts. Let's combine some of these in another example. Imagine you're at work and your supervisor asks whether you can attend a meeting at 3 p.m. You're uncertain about your availability, so you respond, "I'm not sure. Let me check my calendar and I'll let you know." This is a courteous and professional approach to the situation. Now let's discuss the phrase, "no worries." This is a friendly method of saying, "That's okay," or "don't worry about it." For example, someone apologizes for tardiness and you reply, "No worries." It keeps the conversation flowing smoothly and positively. You can also use "it's all good" in casual settings. These phrases help maintain a friendly atmosphere. Another frequently used phrase is "that makes sense." You say this when something is clear or reasonable to you. For example, someone explains their reason for being late and you reply, "Oh, that makes sense." It shows comprehension and acceptance of the explanation. It's an effective way to maintain open and respectful communication. Let's practice this in a conversation. Imagine discussing with your roommate who explains they couldn't wash the dishes because they worked late. You say, "No worries, that makes sense. I'll do them today, and maybe you can help tomorrow." In just a few sentences, you've demonstrated understanding, kindness, and effective communication. One more very practical phrase is, "I'll be right back." This is commonly used when leaving temporarily. For example, during a phone call, when you need to retrieve something quickly, you can say, hold on, I'll be right back." It indicates you'll return shortly and aren't ending the conversation. It's also courteous and helpful when used with clients or colleagues. Also try using "I got it" or "I've got this." These phrases demonstrate that you're capable or ready to assist. For example, your coworker drops some documents and you say, "Don't worry, I got it." Or when your supervisor assigns a new task, you respond confidently, "I've got this." These phrases bring confidence and clarity to your conversations. Now let's do another brief conversational example to help you practice naturally. You're at a coffee shop and your friend is carrying two beverages in a bag. They nearly drop something and you say, "Hey, I got it." They smile and respond, "Thanks." Later, your phone rings and you say, "I'll be right back." After your call, you return and say, "Sorry about that." Your friend replies, "No worries." All of this feels like authentic conversation, brief, natural, and friendly. Let's now focus on a helpful phrase for offering suggestions. Why don't we? You can use this when proposing an idea. For example, you and your friend are bored and you say, "Why don't we go for a walk?" Or "Why don't we order pizza tonight?" It's a gentle, courteous way to suggest something. You can also use it professionally. For example, "Why don't we finish the report first and then take a break?" It demonstrates thoughtfulness and cooperation. To make this more engaging, imagine this exchange. You and your friend are sitting home on a rainy afternoon. You say, "I'm bored." Your friend replies, "Me too." You suggest, "Why don't we watch a movie?" They respond, "Great idea. That sounds good." These phrases fit perfectly into everyday conversation and help maintain smooth, easy flow. Another excellent phrase to learn is, "That's a good point." You use this when someone makes an intelligent or helpful comment and you want to acknowledge it. For example, during a discussion about weekend activities, your friend says, "If we go early, we'll avoid traffic." You respond, "That's a good point." Let's leave around 8. This phrase makes your conversations respectful and shows active listening. Let's continue with another common and courteous phrase. Excuse me. This phrase is extremely versatile in many daily situations. You can use it to get someone's attention, to ask a question, or when you accidentally bump into someone. For example, when trying to pass someone in a crowded corridor, you can say, "Excuse me," in a gentle tone. Or if you want to ask a stranger for directions, you can begin by saying, "Excuse me, can you tell me how to get to the train station?" It's respectful and makes your interaction smoother. Closely connected to that is the phrase, "Sorry about that." This is a casual method to apologize for a minor mistake or inconvenience. Imagine you forget to respond to someone's message or accidentally interrupt them. You can say, "Sorry about that," to acknowledge your error. People appreciate when you use simple, courteous language. For example, you arrive at a meeting several minutes late. You say, "Sorry about that. The traffic was really bad today." It demonstrates good manners and makes the other person feel respected. Another phrase you can use daily is, "Can I help you?" It's commonly used in service contexts, but you can also employ it in everyday life when someone appears confused or lost. If you notice someone searching for something in a store or looking through papers at the office, you can ask, "Can I help you?" It's a phrase that shows kindness and willingness to assist. Similarly, if you're working in customer service, asking, "Can I help you find something?" is both professional and polite. Now let's combine these in a practical scenario. You're walking through a store and accidentally bump into someone. You quickly say, "Excuse me, sorry about that." They smile and respond, "No problem." Then you notice someone nearby who appears unable to find something. You approach and ask, "Can I help you?" This brief example uses three useful phrases in one realistic situation, exactly how you'd use them in everyday life. Let's examine another great phrase. "That's interesting." You can use this when someone tells you something surprising, new, or thoughtful. For example, your friend mentions, "I'm learning how to bake French bread," and you say, "Oh, that's interesting." It keeps the conversation moving and shows engagement and attentiveness. If you want to explore further, you can follow with, "Really? Tell me more." This adds depth to your interactions and helps build stronger relationships through conversation. Now let's practice a short conversation using both phrases. Your friend says, "Did you know cats can recognize their names but often choose to ignore you?" You smile and say, "That's interesting. I didn't know that." Your friend adds, "Yeah, I saw it in a documentary." You follow up with, "Really? Tell me more." These responses are simple, but they create flow that keeps the conversation alive. Next, we have a phrase that shows agreement with someone. Exactly. This single word can be very powerful when demonstrating complete understanding or shared opinion. For example, your coworker says, "We really need to fix this problem before it gets worse." You nod and say, "Exactly." It shows alignment and helps build teamwork. You can also use absolutely or totally for the same purpose in casual situations. One more great phrase is, "That's the plan." You can say this when confirming an idea or arrangement. For example, your friend says, "So we'll meet at 7 and have dinner first, right?" You can reply, "Yep, that's the plan." It adds confidence to your conversation and makes your communication clearer. Now let's discuss a phrase used to express surprise or concern. "Oh no." This is a common reaction when something unexpected or unfortunate happens. For example, your friend says, "I missed my bus," and you respond, "Oh no, do you want me to give you a ride?" Or someone says, "I forgot my phone at the restaurant." and you say, "Oh no, that's not good." It's a brief phrase, but it conveys emotion and shows empathy. Let's create a scenario for this. Your classmate says, "I completely forgot we had a quiz today." You reply, "Oh no. Are you okay? Do you want to review together for a bit?" This shows not only concern, but also willingness to help, which is an excellent quality in any conversation. Moving forward, another important phrase is, "I'm on it." You use this when someone requests you do something and you want to show you're starting immediately. It's especially useful professionally or during group projects. For example, your supervisor says, "Can you send me that report by noon?" You reply, "I'm on it." It's professional, direct, and shows reliability. Now let's discuss, "by the way." This phrase is used to shift topics slightly or add extra information. For example, you're discussing movies with a friend and suddenly remember something. You say, "By the way, did you return my book?" It's also helpful in professional emails or meetings. "By the way, I'll be out of the office tomorrow." It allows you to introduce something new without sounding abrupt practice time. You and your friend are chatting about weekend activities. You say, "I might go hiking this Saturday." Your friend says, "Sounds fun. By the way, do you have the charger I lent you?" You reply, "Oh, yeah, I do. I'll bring it tomorrow." Smooth, natural conversation made easy by short, effective phrases. Let's now use "no problem." It's another way to say "you're welcome" or "don't worry about it." For example, someone says, "Thanks for helping me carry the groceries." You respond, "No problem." It's cheerful and positive. You can also say "anytime" if you want to express willingness to help again in the future. Let's incorporate this into dialogue. Your neighbor says, "Thanks for watching my dog yesterday." You smile and say, "No problem, he was so cute." They say, "I really appreciate it," and you reply, "Anytime." See how naturally that flows? Another helpful phrase is, "take your time." You say this when telling someone they don't need to rush. For example, your friend is choosing a meal at a restaurant and feels uncertain. You say, "Take your time, we're not in a rush." It shows patience and kindness. You can also use it when someone feels nervous. For instance, "Take your time, just explain it when you're ready." It helps people feel more comfortable. Now imagine this brief scenario. You're helping your cousin complete an online form. She's struggling to type quickly. You say, "No worries, take your time." She smiles and continues calmly. Your words just made her feel better and more relaxed. Let's also learn the phrase, "let's catch up." This is often used when wanting to reconnect with someone you haven't seen recently. For example, you message an old friend saying, "Hey, it's been a while. Let's catch up soon." It means you want to meet and discuss life. People often use it after time apart, perhaps after a vacation, a busy work period, or even just after the weekend. Next, we have the phrase "hang on." It's a brief way to say "wait a moment." You can say it when about to answer a call, locate a document, or think before responding. For example, someone asks, "Do you have that file?" Then you say, "Hang on, let me check." It's courteous and very common in spoken English. Let's practice in a conversation. Your friend asks, "Do you know what time the movie starts?" You say, "Hang on, I'll check the app." Then you say, "It starts at 6:45." Simple, right? Just like how people communicate in real life. Let's add "sounds great" to your toolkit. It's a very positive response showing excitement or happiness about someone's idea. Your friend says, "Let's go for ice cream after dinner." And you reply, "Sounds great." Or someone says, "I'll pick you up at 5." And you respond, "Sounds great. See you then." This phrase adds energy and warmth to your reply. You can combine it with other phrases too. Your coworker says, let's meet tomorrow to discuss the project. And you reply, sounds great. I'll bring the notes. Simple, smooth, and friendly. Finally, let's end this section with I can't wait. This is used when really looking forward to something. Your friend says, the concert is this Friday, and you say, I can't wait. It's full of excitement and is an excellent phrase to express enthusiasm. Another example, your colleague says, our vacation starts next week, and you say, I know, I can't wait. This makes conversations more expressive and emotional, helping build better relationships. Let's continue exploring more useful phrases that help you sound natural and fluent in everyday conversations. One phrase you'll frequently hear and use is that makes sense. This phrase is perfect when someone explains something to you and you understand or agree with the explanation. For example, if a friend says, I had to cancel the trip because of the weather, you can reply with, oh, that makes sense. It shows attentive listening and understanding of their reason or perspective. It's respectful and encouraging, helping the speaker feel heard and supported. Let's practice this with a small conversation. Your coworker says, I wasn't at the meeting because I had another appointment. You respond, ah, that makes sense. I just wanted to make sure everything was okay. That's a courteous and thoughtful reply, keeping the conversation positive and smooth. Next, let's discuss the phrase, I'm not sure. It's a simple and honest way to indicate you don't know something or need time to consider. For example, someone asks, do you know when the package will arrive, Wasa? And you say, I'm not sure, but I can check. This makes your English sound genuine and natural. You don't have to know everything. It's acceptable to say you're uncertain and then offer assistance. Another everyday phrase is, I guess so. This is a casual way to show agreement, though perhaps not very strongly. For example, your friend says, it might rain tomorrow, and you reply, I guess so. You're not completely certain, but you think it's possible. It's used when you want to agree somewhat without being too definite. It can also be a courteous way to avoid disagreement. Here's a brief scene for practice. Your classmate says, I think we'll have a quiz next week. You say, I guess so. The teacher did mention something about that. Then your classmate replies, let's review together just in case. You answer, that sounds good. This kind of realistic back and forth is where these phrases become powerful tools. Now let's learn the phrase, that's too bad. You use this when someone tells you something unfortunate or disappointing. For example, your friend says, I didn't get the job I wanted. And you reply, oh, that's too bad. I'm sorry to hear that. It's a way to demonstrate empathy without lengthy explanation. It's brief, but shows you care. Pair that with another phrase, I hope things get better. When someone is experiencing difficulty, you can say, that's too bad. I hope things get better soon. It brings comfort and shows support even when you can't resolve the problem. Let's practice with a little dialogue. Your friend says, I was sick all weekend and missed the party. You reply, that's too bad. I hope you're feeling better now. That's kind, supportive, and natural. This kind of language builds trust in relationships. Next up is, that's a good point. You say this when someone makes a thoughtful or intelligent comment. For example, during a group discussion, someone says, we should start earlier to avoid traffic. And you respond, that's a good point. It shows attentive listening, understanding, and appreciation for what others are saying. You can also use this in class or professionally. If your colleague says, we should review last month's data before we present, you can say, what? That's a good point. Let's do that. It shows respect and helps teamwork. Now let's look at what do you mean? This phrase helps when something is unclear. If someone says something confusing, you can politely ask, "What do you mean?" For example, your coworker says, "It's going to be tight," and you say, "What do you mean? Are we short on time or resources?" It helps clarify and avoid misunderstanding. Here's a realistic example. Your friend says, "It was kind of awkward." You reply, "What do you mean?" Then they explain, "Well, I didn't know anyone there, so I just stood alone." That's how you make conversation deeper and clearer. Next phrase, "It doesn't matter." This is used when something is unimportant or when you want to let go of a small issue. If someone says, "I think I gave you the wrong paper," and it's no big deal, you can say, "It doesn't matter." It's relaxed and helps others feel at ease. Let's imagine you're at a cafe. You order coffee but receive tea instead. You think, "That's okay. It doesn't matter. I'll drink it." Then you tell the server, "No worries. It doesn't matter." This kind of positive attitude makes everyday life smoother and conversations more pleasant. Now let's learn "Let me think." You use this when needing a moment to consider something before answering. If someone says, "Do you want to go out or stay in tonight?" and you're unsure, you can say, "Let me think. Maybe we can stay in and watch a movie." It's a phrase that gives you time and shows honesty. Here's a practice conversation. Your friend asks, "What should we cook for dinner?" You say, let me think. How about pasta?" Your friend agrees, "That sounds perfect." Short, realistic, and friendly. That's how you build fluency. Now let's try "it depends." This phrase is perfect when the answer to something can change based on the situation. For example, someone says, "Do you like working from home?" And you say, "It depends. If the internet is stable, then yes. If not, it's stressful." It adds variety to your answers and shows clear thinking. You can also use this in daily decisions. Someone asks, "Are you free this weekend?" You reply, "It depends on how much work I get done." See how flexible that is? It's a great phrase to express different possibilities. Let's try "it's up to you." You can say this when wanting someone else to make a decision. For example, your friend says, "Should we watch a comedy or a drama?" You reply, "It's up to you. I'm okay with either." It shows you're easygoing and open to suggestions. People like talking to someone who's flexible and not too controlling. Now we have "I'll be right back." This is helpful when needing to leave momentarily, but wanting the person to know you're returning. For example, you're at dinner and need to use the restroom. You say, "Excuse me, I'll be right back." It's courteous and clear. You can also use this professionally. You're in a meeting and need to grab a document from another room. You say, "Hold on, I'll be right back with the report." That way, no one feels confused about where you went. Another useful phrase is "you never know." You say this when something might happen, even if it seems unlikely. For example, someone says, "I don't think I'll get that job." And you reply, "You never know. They might love your application." It gives hope and keeps the mood light. Try using it in casual chat. Your friend says, "I don't think I'll win the contest." You smile and say, "Hey, you never know." This small phrase can really lift someone's spirits. Now let's add "I'm just kidding." It's used to show that what you said was a joke. For example, you tell your friend, "I ate all your cookies." Then laugh and say, "I'm just kidding." It's useful so people don't take you too seriously when you're joking. Another phrase for lively conversation is "no way." This is an excited reaction to something surprising. For example, your friend says, "I met a celebrity yesterday." And you respond, "No way." That's amazing. It makes you sound lively and involved. Let's now include "I'm used to it." You say this when something that was difficult at first is now easy or normal. For example, the waking up early was tough, but now I'm used to it. It's a great way to express your adjustment to new situations. Lastly, for this section, let's look at I don't feel like it. This means you don't want to do something right now. For example, your friend says, "Want to go out?" And you reply, "I don't feel like it today. Maybe tomorrow." It's honest, but still polite. Let's continue our journey with more practical phrases you can use confidently in everyday conversations. One very common phrase is take your time. It's a courteous way to tell someone there's no rush. For example, if someone is searching for their wallet or finishing a message while you wait, you can say, take your time. It shows patience and consideration, which always helps create a relaxed environment in conversation. You can use it in a situation like this. Your friend is deciding what to order at a restaurant and is taking a while. You smile and say, it's fine. Take your time. I haven't decided yet either. That makes the moment feel friendly instead of stressful. It's such a simple phrase, but it shows emotional intelligence. Another good phrase is, I'm ready when you are. This phrase is especially helpful when waiting on someone to begin something and you want them to know you're not in a hurry. It sounds courteous and flexible. Imagine you're about to start a meeting or head out with a friend and they're getting ready. You can say, I'm ready when you are. It's friendly and respectful, showing you're willing to wait and follow their lead. Now let's discuss the phrase, I can't wait. This is often used to express excitement about something upcoming. For example, you might say, I can't wait for the weekend, or I can't wait to see the movie tonight. It makes your emotions clear and helps people connect with your enthusiasm. It can also be an excellent conversation starter. Let's try a little practice. Your friend says, I got tickets for the concert. You say, oh, wow, I can't wait. I've been looking forward to it all week. It creates positive energy and shows how engaged you are in the moment. Another useful phrase is, it's not a big deal. This is what you say when someone apologizes for something small or makes a mistake, and you want to let them know it's okay. For example, someone says, I forgot to bring your book, and you reply, that's okay, it's not a big deal. Just bring it next time. This phrase makes you sound easygoing and helps avoid conflict. Let's take another example. Someone accidentally bumps into you in a hallway and says, sorry. You smile and say, it's not a big deal. That kind of response helps keep the mood positive and light. Another great phrase to use when encouraging someone is, you can do it. This short phrase is full of motivation. You might use it when someone is nervous about a presentation or trying something new. For instance, your friend says, I have an interview today and I'm so nervous. You say, you'll be great. You can do it. These little phrases can mean a lot and help people feel supported. Here's a short exercise. Imagine your friend says, I don't know if I'll pass this driving test. You respond, don't worry, you've practiced a lot. You can do it. These moments are where real friendships grow. Let's move on to the phrase, I'm on my way. It's used to tell someone you're heading toward them or the place you're meeting. For example, you get a message asking, Ma, are you coming? And you reply, yes, I'm on my way. It's a very natural and commonly used phrase in both casual and professional situations. You can also say it over the phone. Your supervisor calls and says, are you arriving soon? And you answer, yes, I'm on my way. I'll be there in 5 minutes. It keeps communication clear and shows responsibility. Another helpful phrase is, I'm not feeling well. This is used when you're sick or tired and want to express that politely. Instead of going into too much detail, this phrase helps you explain quickly. For example, if someone invites you out and you're not feeling good, you can say, thanks for inviting me, but I'm not feeling well today. Can we do it another time? Let's practice this in a scene. A colleague asks, "Are you coming to lunch?" And you say, "I wish I could, but I'm not feeling well. I think I need to rest a bit." It's honest and respectful. You're taking care of yourself without being rude. Now let's try "I'm just looking." You use this when you go to a store and a salesperson offers help, but you're not ready to buy anything. You say, "Thanks, I'm just looking." It's courteous and clear and very common in everyday shopping experiences. For example, you walk into a clothing store and the salesperson says, "Can I help you find anything?" And you respond, "No, thank you, I'm just looking." It makes things easy for both of you. Here's another useful phrase: "Let's keep in touch." You can use this when saying goodbye to someone and you want to stay connected. For example, if you meet someone at a workshop or travel together and want to stay in contact afterward, you can say, "Babe, it was great meeting you. Let's keep in touch." It's warm and friendly and opens the door to future communication. Now let's use "sounds great." This phrase is a friendly way to show agreement or enthusiasm. If someone says, "Yeah, let's meet at 3 o'clock," and you like the idea, you say, "It sounds great." It's simple and adds a positive tone to the conversation. Try using it whenever someone makes a suggestion you're happy with. Another phrase that adds warmth to your conversation is, "That's interesting." You can say this when someone tells you something new or unusual. It shows curiosity and keeps the conversation going. For example, if someone says, "I used to live in Japan," you respond, "Oh, that's interesting. What was it like?" That opens the door to deeper discussion. Here's one more phrase: "Let me know." It means you want the person to tell you something later when they find out or decide. For example, your friend says, "I might go to the gym tonight," and you say, "Let me know if you do. Maybe I'll join you." It's open and helpful. We also have "I'm just about to," which is used when you're going to do something very soon. For example, "I'm just about to leave," or "I'm just about to call you." It's helpful when you want to explain timing clearly. Now let's look at "I'm in the middle of something." You use this when someone tries to get your attention but you're busy. For instance, someone calls you and you're cooking dinner. You say, "Can I call you back? I'm in the middle of something." It's courteous but clear. A simple and friendly phrase is, "I'll let you know." This one means you will give someone information later. For example, your coworker asks, "Will you be at the meeting tomorrow?" And you say, "I'm not sure yet, but I'll let you know." It keeps the conversation open and shows responsibility. Another helpful phrase is "you're welcome." It's the natural response when someone says "thank you." Always say it with a smile. Someone says, "Thanks for helping me move," and then you say, "You're welcome. I'm happy to help." Let's not forget "I don't mind." You can use this when someone asks if something is okay with you. For example, "Do you mind if we sit by the window?" And you say, "I don't mind." It's a kind and flexible phrase that helps conversations feel smooth. Another practical phrase is "that's enough." You say this when something has reached the limit. For example, if someone keeps turning up the volume, you can say, "Bams, that's enough. It's loud enough already." Or in a restaurant, "No more dessert. That's enough for today." It helps set gentle boundaries. Let's now add "can I help you?" This is something you say when you want to offer assistance. It could be at work, at home, or even when you see someone struggling with bags or directions. For example, you see someone looking lost and you say, "Excuse me, can I help you?" It's courteous and generous. We'll also use "be careful." This is useful in many situations. You say it when someone is doing something risky or when you want to show care. For example, be careful crossing the road or be careful with that glass. It's fragile. It's short, but filled with meaning. Let's continue with more common English phrases you can use confidently. One very helpful phrase is make yourself at home. This is something you say to a guest when they visit your house. It's a friendly and welcoming way to tell them to relax and feel comfortable. For example, your friend comes over and you say, come in, make yourself at home. This makes people feel at ease and sets a positive tone for the visit. Another useful phrase is, I'm afraid not. You use this when you want to say no in a courteous way. For instance, if someone asks, can you come to the meeting tomorrow? And you can't, you say, I'm afraid not. I have another appointment. It sounds softer than just saying no and shows you care about how the other person feels. Let's practice this. Imagine someone asks, can you join us for dinner tonight? And you're not available. Instead of saying a blunt no, you say, I'm afraid not. I already have dinner plans, but thank you for inviting me. See how courteous and respectful that sounds? Another phrase often used in daily life is don't worry about it. This is a great way to tell someone that something isn't a problem. For example, someone apologizes for being late and you say, it's okay, don't worry about it. It tells them you're not upset and helps ease any tension. Let's imagine a quick scene. Your friend accidentally drops your pen and says, I'm so sorry. And you smile and say, it's just a pen, don't worry about it. It keeps the mood light and friendly. Next, we have I'd rather not. This phrase is used when you prefer not to do something and want to express it gently. For instance, someone asks, do you want to watch a horror movie? And you respond, I'd rather not. I don't really like scary movies. It sounds courteous and respectful of the other person's suggestion while clearly expressing your preference. Here's another example for practice. You're invited to a party, but you're feeling tired. You say, thanks for the invite, but I'd rather not go out tonight. I need to rest. This phrase is helpful when you want to decline without sounding rude. Let's look at another phrase. That happens. You can use this when someone makes a mistake or something goes wrong and you want to reassure them. For example, your coworker says, I forgot to send the email, and you say, it's okay, that happens. It shows understanding and you're not upset. It makes others feel supported and less embarrassed. A good phrase to show agreement is exactly. This one-word response shows you completely agree with someone. For example, someone says, it's important to get enough sleep, and you reply, exactly. It adds enthusiasm and connection to your conversations. Let's imagine you're talking to a friend about work stress. They say, sometimes the meetings feel unnecessary, and then you respond, exactly, I feel the same way. This phrase is a great way to build rapport and show you're on the same page. Here's another practical phrase. It depends. You can use this when the answer to a question isn't simple and may change depending on the situation. For instance, someone asks, do you like working from home? And you reply, it depends on the day. Sometimes I love it, but sometimes I miss being around people. It's flexible and natural in conversation. Let's do a short exercise. Someone asks, will you go to the beach this weekend? You say, it depends on the weather. If it's sunny, I'll go. That's how easy it is to use this phrase. Another phrase to use in casual situations is, I'll think about it. It means you're not ready to decide now, but you're considering the idea. For example, someone says, do you want to join the gym with me? And you say, oh, I'll think about it. It keeps the conversation open and gives you time. Let's try another example. Your friend invites you on a weekend trip. You're not sure yet, so you say, that sounds fun. I'll think about it and let you know tomorrow. It shows interest without rushing into a decision. Now let's look at I see what you mean. This phrase shows you understand someone's opinion or explanation. For example, someone explains why they didn't like a movie and you say, "Yeah, I see what you mean. The ending was kind of weak." It helps you show empathy and understanding in conversation. Here's a practice example. A colleague says, "I find it hard to concentrate in noisy places." And you reply, "I see what you mean. It's tough when there's too much background noise." It makes your conversations more thoughtful and respectful. Another useful phrase is, "I'm sorry to hear that." You use this when someone tells you about something bad or disappointing. For example, someone says, "I didn't get the job," and you say, "I'm sorry to hear that. I know how hard you worked." It shows compassion and kindness. Let's continue with thanks anyway. This is used when someone tries to help you, but it didn't work out. For instance, you ask a friend if they have a charger and they say no. You reply, "Okay, thanks anyway." It shows gratitude even when things don't go as planned. You can also use, "That sounds good." It's a common way to show you like a suggestion. For example, someone says, "Let's get lunch around 1, and you say, "That sounds good." It's friendly and keeps the conversation flowing smoothly. Another simple but important phrase is good luck. You use this to wish someone success before a big event or challenge. For example, yes, "Good luck on your exam," or "Good luck with your interview." It's positive and encouraging. Now let's talk about I appreciate it. This is a courteous way to say thank you. It sounds sincere and is often used in both formal and casual situations. For example, someone holds the door open for you and you say, "I appreciate it." Or your coworker helps you with a report and you say, "Thanks so much. I really appreciate it." Let's look at I don't get it. This phrase means you don't understand something. It's honest and useful when you're learning or trying to follow an explanation. For example, in class, you might say, "I don't get it. Can you explain it again?" It shows you're engaged and want to learn. If you want to sound more casual, you can also say, "I don't get what you mean." This is useful in conversations when you're confused by someone's point. Let's not forget it's up to you. This phrase means someone else can make the decision. For example, so where should we eat? And you say, "It's up to you. I'm fine with anything." It shows flexibility and makes the other person feel valued. Here's another example. Someone says, "Do you want to go hiking or stay home?" And you respond, "It's up to you. I like both options." That way, you're being easygoing and cooperative. Let's continue with I'm not sure. This phrase is useful when you don't know something and want to be honest. Someone asks, "Do we need to bring ID?" And you say, "I'm not sure. Let me check." It's natural and common. Now try this example. Your classmate says, "Is the homework due today?" And you say, "I'm not sure. I'll ask the teacher." It shows you're willing to help while being honest. Another great phrase is long time no see. This is a friendly expression when you meet someone you haven't seen in a while. For example, you see a classmate from last year and you say, hey, long time no see." It's cheerful and friendly. Let's now include, "That's a good question." You use this when someone asks something interesting or difficult to answer. For example, "But why do people dream?" And you say, "Yes, that's a good question. I don't really know, but it's interesting." This phrase shows curiosity and engagement. Lastly, for this part, let's practice with I'm used to it. This means something has become normal for you. For example, someone says, "Isn't it hard waking up early every day?" And you say, "It was at first, but now I'm used to it." It's a great way to describe habits or things you've adjusted to over time. Let's continue with even more useful English phrases you can use every day in different situations. One of the most helpful and simple phrases is, let me know. This is something you say when you want someone to inform you later. For example, if you're making plans, you might say, let me know if you're free this weekend. It shows you're open and waiting for a response. You can also say it after giving someone a suggestion, like, let me know what you think. It keeps the conversation going. Try this practice example. Your friend says they might go to the movies, but they're not sure. You say, let me know if you decide to go, I might join you. And that's how naturally this phrase fits into daily life. Another commonly used phrase is no worries. This is used to say something is not a problem. It's friendly, casual, and reassuring. For example, someone says, sorry for being late, and you reply, no worries. It's similar to saying, it's okay, but even more relaxed. You can use it in different situations too. Imagine someone thanks you for helping them. You could say, no worries, happy to help. It makes you sound easygoing and approachable. Let's move on to take your time. This phrase means there's no need to hurry, it's courteous and patient. For example, if someone is taking a while to finish something, you can say, take your time. I'm not in a rush. It shows you're understanding and considerate. Let's say your friend is choosing between different outfits and is taking a while. You smile and say, it's fine, take your time. That makes the other person feel more relaxed and not pressured. Another natural and friendly phrase is, I can't wait. This means you're excited about something. For example, you might say, I can't wait for the weekend, or I can't wait to see the new movie. It adds emotion and energy to your speech. Now let's practice it. You have a holiday planned next month. Someone asks, are you looking forward to it? You answer, absolutely, I can't wait. This expression brings out your enthusiasm and is great for connecting with others. A practical phrase often used at work or school is, that makes sense. This shows you understand something and it's logical to you. For example, someone explains why they had to cancel a meeting and you say, but that makes sense. It's a great way to show you're listening and you understand the reason. Let's imagine someone says, we had to move the event because of the rain. You reply, that makes sense. It wouldn't be safe in bad weather. This phrase builds communication and agreement. Next, we have fingers crossed. This is a phrase you say when you hope for good luck or a positive outcome. For example, you apply for a job and you say, I have an interview tomorrow. Fingers crossed. It shows hope and adds a friendly tone. Here's another example. A friend is waiting for test results. You say, fingers crossed for good news. It's a way to show support and optimism. Now let's look at I'm in. You use this phrase to say you want to join an activity or agree to a plan. For example, someone says, we're going hiking this Saturday. Want to come? You say, sounds fun. I'm in. It's short, casual, and enthusiastic. Let's try another example. Someone suggests a group project and you respond, I'm in, let's do it. This kind of phrase makes you sound positive and involved. A phrase that's useful when you're not sure about something is, I guess so. It means you agree, but maybe not fully. For instance, if someone says it's going to be a long day and you're unsure, you say, I guess so. It's gentle and uncertain. You can also say it when you're deciding. For example, that should we go now? I guess so. It's very natural and common in everyday conversations. Another one is you never know. This phrase expresses that anything is possible. For example, someone says, do you think we'll win the contest? And you say, maybe. You never know. It brings a little hope and possibility into the conversation. Here's another example. Do you think I'll get the job even though I don't have much experience? You never know. Sometimes they want fresh ideas. It adds positivity and encouragement. A helpful phrase in many situations is, that's a shame. You use it when something unfortunate happens. For example, someone says, I couldn't go to the concert because I was sick. And you say, that's a shame. I know you were looking forward to it. It shows sympathy and care. Now let's try using it. A friend says, I dropped my phone and cracked the screen. You say, oh no, that's a shame. It's short but comforting. Another one is, I'm just looking. This is especially useful when you're shopping and a salesperson asks if you need help. You say, Ma, thanks, I'm just looking. It's courteous and clear. Let's practice. You walk into a store and someone says, can I help you find anything? You reply, I'm just looking, thanks. It helps you feel more confident and natural when speaking to people in service roles. Now let's explore the phrase, it's not worth it. You say this when something isn't worth your time, effort, or money. For example, someone says, should I buy that expensive phone? And you say, it's not worth it if you only use it for calls. It's good for giving advice or sharing opinions. Here's another example. I was going to argue with him, but honestly, it's not worth it. That shows maturity and practicality. Let's look at I'm on my way. This is something you say when you're going somewhere and you want to let the other person know. For example, someone texts, are you coming? And you reply, yes, I'm on my way. It's quick, useful, and very common. Imagine this practice situation. Your friend calls and says, where are you? And you say, I just left the house. I'm on my way. It keeps the communication clear. Another helpful phrase is, it's up to you. This gives the other person the choice. For example, if someone says, where should we eat? And you don't mind, you say, oh, it's up to you. It's courteous and gives the decision to them. Next, we have let's catch up. You say this when you want to meet someone after a long time to talk and reconnect. For example, it's been ages, let's catch up sometime. It shows you value the relationship. You can also say it casually when ending a conversation. I have to go now, but let's catch up later, okay? It's friendly and keeps the connection going. A very modern and commonly used phrase is sounds like a plan. You say this when you agree to a suggestion. For example, someone says, let's meet at 6 at the cafe. And you say, sounds like a plan. It's cheerful and approving. Let's practice this. Your friend says, let's have a study session tomorrow evening. And you say, great, sounds like a plan. That adds excitement and agreement. Now let's try I'm good either way. You use this when you don't have a preference between two options. For example, someone says, do you want tea or coffee? And you say, I'm good either way. It's flexible and easygoing. Imagine another example. Your team asks, should we meet online or in person? And you reply, I'm good either way, whatever works best for everyone. It helps keep plans moving smoothly. Finally, let's finish with keep me posted. This means you want someone to update you about a situation. For example, I hope the project goes well. Keep me posted. It's courteous and shows interest. Practice this. A friend is going to the doctor and you care about them. You say, let me know how it goes. Keep me posted, okay? It shows warmth and concern. These phrases may seem simple, but when you start using them regularly in your conversations, you'll notice a big improvement in your fluency, tone, and confidence. Make it a habit to repeat, listen, and apply them in daily situations. Speak them out loud, write short conversations using them, or practice with a friend. The more natural they feel, the more fluent your English will become. Small daily progress adds up to big changes. Thank you for staying with me until the end of this lesson. I hope you found this video helpful and that you'll start using these 75 phrases in your everyday conversations. If you enjoyed this lesson, be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon so you never miss a new lesson. We upload English learning videos every day to help you speak more confidently and fluently. And remember, consistency is the key to fluency. Keep practicing, and I'll see you in the next one.